Hello everybody and welcome to Master Tape Theater. We're the world's first and only video podcast dedicated to the history and preservation of live audience concert recordings. And I am your host, the one-man crime spree, the world champion of videos and the man that's causing all of this, Roy Goddamn. And I am joined by my esteemed colleague. He is the Duke of Danzig, the Alpha Romeo, Eric the Ladies Fight for His Delight Lawton. How you doing this week, dude?
It's been a great week, man. Kiss has been on fire this week. I've been just loving the whole Kiss experience overall. Ace has been in the game right now. He's throwing punches. He's going off, man. It's incredible.
Well, I mean, the gloves are off, as everybody knows. With me, Ace, and everyone, man, the gloves are off, baby. We got Nikki Sixx chiming in on that this week. But as you all know, Kiss actually kicked off their End of the Road tour in Vancouver, British Columbia, up in Canada. I was actually at the Kiss show in Canada. They have a lot of fans out there, man, but I am getting reports that they were actually comping on a lot of tickets. There were free tickets all over town. I noticed that the price was a major drop. You could buy tickets that cost hundreds of dollars just a month ago for like $75, man.
You're totally taking the wind out of my sails here, bro. I mean, come on. I thought this shit was on fire. Gene's got that new outfit going right now. I mean,
okay,
he's
so
pretty mobile in the thing. I don't know if he's been hanging out with Guar or some shit, dude. But
okay,
you know.
So actually, I got a few things I did want to bring up about the tour. There's some fantastic footage out there right now. In this footage, you can see that Gene actually has a new costume. And it's a little bit different than one they did in the photo shoots. I think the one in the photo shoots was a lot heavier because this one looks like, I swear to God, like it's made out of foam rubber or hollow plastic or something. It does look like something that War would have. And the boots, I mean, the boots are really awesome. I mean, they're gigantic, but they're almost like a parody of what Kiss used to be, man. I mean, I swear to God, they look like Ronald McDonald shoes, or kind of like that 70s Keep Truckin' cartoon thing. Like, I mean, dude, it's like big giant clown shoes and like a plastic War costume. It's pretty funny, but that's not even the best part, man. The lip sync controversy is my favorite part of the whole thing because just today, all the videos started hitting the YouTube of different pieces of footage from different angles, like proving that Paul is lip syncing. But then you have all of the super diehard fans that are out there like swearing that the footage is doctored. Yeah, hundreds of people have got together to conspire against Kiss all at the same time, man, because seriously, in a couple of weeks from now or a month from now, there are going to be hundreds, if not thousands of pieces of video documenting and proving that they're faking. And not just Gene, but Paul too. I mean, I'll show a clip right now that'll show you everything. You're looking for someone, but it's not Kiss. Dude, that is clearly proof of fucking lip syncing, dude. I mean, there's multiple takes, multiple shots. They slow it down. I mean, if they would just admit it, I probably wouldn't beat on them half as bad. I mean, just a few years back, Paul Stanley was out there bashing people that use lip syncing and backtracks, and now here they are doing it, man. I mean, just come clean. You can't do it. It's over. It is the end of the road. There's never been a more proper name for a tour, man. It really is the end of the fucking road here.
I never would have thought that whole finger licking thing would have backfired on Paul. It's always looked so fucking cool over the years. It's always been one of my favorite Paul things, you know, very enticing.
Maybe they were angling to get a sponsorship from KFC, like finger. but anyway, man. Oh my God. Fucking the greatest band in the land, Kiss! So fuck this shit. All right, man, if I can be serious for just a second, dude. I want to do something that I don't actually normally do here on the show, and I want us to bow our heads in prayer, man. Lord, if you're watching this or listening to me right now, and I know that you're not, I need you to please use all of your strength and might to bring a swift end to the end of the road tour, Lord.
Yes, Jesus.
Please send forward all of the women that Gene Simmons has recently molested and have them derail the tour with lawsuits. Maybe put in a call to Christine 16 and all of those girls in the 70s that he may have touched inappropriately, Lord. Please send them forward to derail this horrible tour. Amen. Also this week, it was absolutely amazing. The Living After Midnight episode with Kevin, part 1 of his interview, got over 4,000 views at the time of the recording of this show. I'm pretty sure we're just going to have to give the whole show to Kevin, man, in order to keep these numbers up. I don't think anybody wants to hear me talk about bootlegs now that they've heard Kevin tell his stories.
Right.
Yeah, it's not looking good for us, man. We're going to have to just give Kevin...
He's awesome, man. I love the show.
Well,
he's great.
Thankfully,
I think he's our best guest.
Thankfully, this week we have part 2, so let's hope we can keep those numbers up. Also this week, Mark Adams from Tampa, the Tampa Tampon Bandit, one of my good buddies here in the network, sent me a huge box of master tapes. I actually got the Bang Tango 60 frames per second remaster up, and I just got to pat myself on the back right now, man, because that thing sounds fucking incredible, dude. If you haven't heard it, you need to check it out. Even if you don't like Bang Tango, just go to it so that you can hear my awesome audio mastering skills. But also, we have a whole slew of shows from Hollywood, Florida that I put up this week that he sent me. We have Iron Maiden, Aerosmith, Cinderella, and Great White, which was never released. Those were all shot by his friend Ryan, who we're hoping to have here on the show in the coming weeks. Those shows are fantastic. And then another show that we have Sepultura. Mark sent me his master of a show from 1990. It's awesome. You can see the mosh pit and the culture that was the death metal movement in the Tampa, Florida area, man. My
first mosh pit was Sepultura opening for Ministry in 1992. It was fucking insane, dude. I thought I was going to die, literally, dude. It was just nuts.
Well, that footage is fantastic. Mark's going to be sending me a lot more. I think next week we're going to put up the Hooters, Otis Day. I mean, all kinds of incredible footage. He even managed to get a few fleeting shots of Samantha Fox.
You got Hooters, you got Samantha Fox. I didn't know we had that kind of page going, bro.
Dude, we got it all, man. I don't even know. Did you know that Paul Stanley was banging Samantha Fox? She was his beard back in.
It must have worked out well for both of them, I guess, right?
Yeah, she was helping him hide his true identity back in.
Right, she was probably giving him the old strap on or something, you know. I mean, that sort of thing, right? I mean,
dude, I can see it now. I want to hear the Paul Stanley remix of Samantha Fox and Paul Stanley doing "Touch Me." So I can hear it now, man. Touch me, I want to feel your body. Like fucking, I think it could be good, man. But anyway, so here we go, man. This is me and Kevin Weinstein, part 2 of our 2-part interview with Living After Midnight, New York City Bitch Committee. Kevin Weinstein, he is the motherfucking man. Let's get to it. But yeah, I mean, you almost had to, you almost had to pull me off the guy, but oh my goodness. And another thing too, I mean, not only, have you been, sneaking in the back door of the Ritz, getting front row tickets. I mean, you were a world traveler, dude. You filmed shows in many exotic locations. Tell me about some of the shows that you filmed outside of the U.S. I remember you going and filming Page Plant.
Oh, yeah.
I want to say it was in Budapest or somewhere. It was crazy location.
Yeah, so what happened was, they came around in 96, and me and Tom went to many shows together. And we made some mixes. We did our own, Tom was just like, whatever. He was such a free spirit, such a great guy. And he would pump me up on Page and Plant. He's like, this isn't going to stay for too long. This is historic. This is Led Zeppelin. And he got me so pumped up. I was like, they decided in 98 that they were going to do a Eastern European tour. And I was like, Tom, I just got to go. This is it. And they weren't even going to do an American tour yet. They haven't announced it yet. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going. I go, you want to go? He's like, I can't go. I work for the government, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, well, I don't. So I'm going. So I got my friend Todd. Now, Todd is a professional audio, used to bootleg, used to do it for other bands. Then he became a sound guy and all this stuff. He's taped more shows than anyone I ever know doing audio. And I said to Todd, I go, hey, you want to take a trip with me? Let's fly into Eastern Europe. Now, I traveled Europe when I was in college, but you couldn't go to Eastern Europe because it was, that Russian, communist kind of thing. So the wall came down, I think, in 1990, but that was only in Germany, but not the rest of the countries. So I think in like 96, 97, the wall came down over there. And that's why Page and Plant were going to go there, because they weren't allowed to go there before. And now they were finally letting in bands for the first time to play in those kind of places. So we went without tickets, without anything. We just got a plane ticket to start, and we went into Budapest first, into Hungary, and then we were going to end in Poland, in Katowice. And we were going to hit all the shows in between. We were going to go to the Czech Republic, we were going to go to Romania, and we were going to go into Poland. And then we found out that the Romanian show was actually being filmed for MTV. Now that blew my mind, because here I am spending about the most money I've ever spent on filming stuff, going over there and hotels and tickets and everything. We didn't even have tickets yet. So we were going to have to go to black market, third world communist countries to try to get tickets.
Right.
They didn't sell tickets like we have here. They don't have like a Ticketmaster where you could order and stuff. Back over there, you had to do a special mail order, and you just got what you got. And that was it. So we went to Budapest, and we flew into there, and it was great. People there were great city, met a lot of cool people. And I went and I filmed that show. My friend Todd went up front. He did audio. So we were able to put that together, which was great. But I didn't, the arenas there were like really old. It was like a high school auditorium with the wooden seats, the pull-out seats, and it wasn't shaped right. It wasn't a good place to really shoot a video, but I did it. It was kind of distant. I kind of got it, but I wasn't really happy with the video. But, we got something that no one else has ever got.
Yeah, just such an amazing experience. And just, of all the people I know that we've talked to on the show and all the things I've done, I mean, I've got a million crazy stories, but I never went to Budapest and filmed a show, man. I mean, that you may be the only guy who consciously did that and wasn't just there by a fluke.
But the next show on that tour, this is the story. This is the story within the story. It was, this was the Czech Republic. It wasn't Czechoslovakia anymore. Now it's the Czech Republic, because it's not communist bloc. So they split the country, Slovenia and the Czech Republic. Now it's cut in half. So there's a lot of patriotism in there going on in that country at this time. So we get into Prague. Prague is a great city. We had no place to stay. We came off the train and met a girl in like the main square. I guess it would be like Times Square here in New York. And this girl's like, I work at a hotel. She goes, why don't you come with me and I'll hook you up. She goes, I'll give you guys the top room in the hotel and everything, and I'll charge you for the leased room. And really nice girl. I met one of my best friends to this. This is part of the story. But let's get back to the bootleg part. So that was great. We felt really strong and really good there, and we felt confident. Now, the day that Page and Plant were playing in the Prague Arena, this was the same day that the Prague hockey team was playing for the World Cup. I think in the Winter Olympics was in Japan or something like that, or Korea or someplace like that. And so we were in their home arena when Page and Plant were playing the day they won the World Cup. And now the Czech Republic never won the World Cup before in hockey. So this was like, and since we were in that arena, there was hundreds, maybe thousands of people outside the arena, like big party, big patriotism, like we're on the map. They're their own country now because they're not Czechoslovakia anymore. It was a big deal. Right. So we're in this old communist arena, probably like 80 to 100 years old. It had big iron metal benches. I mean, maybe you could fit like 25, 30 people across on one of these things. And if you only had 15 people, this thing would fling you like a catapult.
Crazy.
Because it had a spring in it for the part where you sit down. So here I am. Again, I didn't want to get caught. It was super packed, super crazy. I paid like ridiculous money for my tickets. And I just said, you know what? I can't shoot in this place. It's very not suitable for like this kind of thing. You couldn't go on the floor. I was afraid for my camera. I said, I'm going to go last row in the back, and it's elevated at least up there because it was very low and it was just no good sight line. So I went right in the back. I said, I'm going to shoot it. Even if it's distant, at least I'll get an unobstructed shot. So I went in the back there, and I met a guy there sitting next to me, and he was from Romania. And he was sitting there crying during when they played Going to California. And he's sobbing, and he's literally his head on my shoulder, and now I'm getting soaked. And I'm holding the camera up to my face, and I'm trying to shoot the show, and I can't be steady because this guy is crying on my shoulder. And in his very limited English, because he's Romanian, he's telling me the story, how this song made him come all the way over to the Czech Republic from Romania, where he had a whole big ordeal to get there and get in that country. Maybe the visas over there weren't the same, whatever it was a big deal for him to get there. And to see these guys there in that arena that night was the highlight of his life. And he was crying on my shoulder about it, telling me this while I'm trying to film the concert. And right after that song, Robert Plant comes up to the microphone. He goes, "It's just been announced. The Czech Republic has won the World Cup in hockey to their home arena." And there were people inside the arena, outside the arena. All hell broke loose. They had big fires outside. It was like, woo!
Wow, that is just an amazing experience. I mean, I'm jealous of your story, man.
Yeah, and that made that trip worth it. We had another great experience in Poland and stuff filming. We never did Romania because they filmed it for MTV.
Right.
But that was, you mentioned that tour, and that was just one of the stories that always sticks in my mind. And every time I hear Going to California from Led Zeppelin, I think of that guy from Romania.
That's awesome, dude. I hope we can get that up on the network soon, man.
There's something we didn't mention, and there's somebody in the bootleg community I don't even think you really know about. Mm-hmm. And I can definitely get her on the show for you.
Right.
And this is my friend Krista. She was filming before even Frank was filming.
Really?
She was filming back in '88.
Dude, a girl filming, a bootleg female filmer? Yeah, dude, please bring that to the show. I gotta have this. Yeah, dude. I mean, we're trying to get everybody to be involved. I mean, we're actually talking to guys that shot Super 8 film back in the 70s that's now synced to sound. I just did a show with a guy, Kurt Gooch, who was on the show. He's actually involved in clip licensing. And I mean, dude, he's got incredible footage of Motley Crue from Too Fast for Love and stuff that we shot on film and synced to sound. I mean, it's kind of late, 82, 83. But there were still some people out there doing that, man. But One more thing I wanted to ask you about was, man, you used to film Prince a lot. So, I mean, tell me a little bit about you filming Prince, man. Just if you got any remembrances of that. I mean, because you filmed him a million times, and I believe you used to have like a huge Prince mailing list. So if you would
Yes.
film a show, you would literally get like 100 hits on that show, like in, a couple of weeks. So how did, tell me about a little bit about you filming Prince, man. Anything you got?
All right. Well, Prince to me, I don't know. Back in high school, Prince came out with Purple Rain, and it was a big deal. And I had a friend back then, and I was so in love with her, although she was not in love with me. But hearing Prince always reminded me of her, and she was out of my life within a couple of years. But she was the most funnest and beautiful girl I've ever hung out with, and her name was Patty. If you see this, Patty, contact me. Anyhow, then she got me into Prince, and at that time, to say you like Prince was like you were like a fag, a homo, whatever. And people would come up with these slang names. You were homosexual if you listened to Prince because he wore like lingerie and all this stuff. I didn't give a shit about that stuff.
Right.
I like to go out and dance. I like all kinds of music, not just heavy metal and rock and roll, but everything. So I like Prince, and then it always reminded me of Patty, and it always brought a smile on my face. So once I got out there, I realized how many crazy Prince fans there are. And people would ask me, could you film Prince? Please film him when he comes. He has the best show. He's the best musician. He's the most diverse, all this stuff. I said, okay, I will. But Prince was the biggest motherfucker to bootleggers.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest. If you were even caught, you were like arrested, or your cameras were smashed, or whatever. It was bad. It was really bad. So you had to be super careful. And even if you traded it or sold it, if they even found out, they had lawyers on your ass in 2 seconds. I know. I got a letter from them. Maybe a few. But anyhow, besides that, I have one good Prince story. In New York, we had this club called the Palladium. It was a big dance club, and they also had some famous shows. I think Frank Zappa played there, and there's a Bootleg. I think that was like their first professional bootleg that I saw out on the market. I think was Frank Zappa, and then Steve Vai was his guitarist. That's why everybody liked it, because it was Steve Vai's first time on video where people could actually see him. And I don't know when it was. It must have been like 84 or something like that. I saw Prince there, and for Prince to play there, now he was playing stadiums and arenas all over the world. And then he decided one night he would just show up and announce it like the day of or the day before. That was his big thing. Like Prince is very secretive. And he announced a show there at the Palladium. I was like, oh, wow, this is great. I'm going to get this. It's here in New York, too, because he's always playing weird places and you would have to fly out. And I flew out and saw him all over the place, whether it was Vegas or, I always saw him in this country. I saw him once.
How many times do you think you filmed Prince, if you had to guess?
I don't know. I don't have my list anymore. The feds took it. But
how many times do you think you filmed Prince?
I don't know, but maybe like 20, 30. Who knows? I don't really know.
Fucking amazing, dude. Nobody filmed Prince 30 fucking times, man. That's amazing. So I'm sorry. So go ahead. Back to the Palladium.
So I went to the Palladium, and he told the security there, I don't even want cameras in there. Nothing. Zero. No electronics. Nothing. Back then, I don't even think they had. Oh, they had. Was cell phones out yet? I don't even know if cell phones were out yet when I saw it. This was the early 90s. Whatever it was, I remember I went in these like parachute pants, and I had a bag, and it was filled with so much crap in it, like clothes and dirty underwear on the top with skid marks on it. So like people wouldn't like go into it. It had a million pockets and hidden pockets in it, but the bag had a little weight to it. And I remember I had my monopod in there, and I had my microphone in there, and I had my camera in my crotch. And when I tried to get in, that was the first time I saw like those airport metal detectors where you walk through. Mm-hmm. And I was like, holy shit. It was the first time I ever saw that. I was like, wow, this guy is hardcore. And Prince would travel and bring his own. It wasn't the clubs. It was his. And he would have one of his own guys at the door with the security. He was hardcore about this stuff. He didn't want any audio or anything, because I think that was bigger at the time, was they were worried about audio getting out. So I went through this thing. It kept going off. And then the lady just came right up to me, and she grabbed me right by the balls. went. I never had that happen before. Usually, that was politically incorrect or whatever at the time. But she grabbed me right by the balls and she says, whatever the fuck that is, you better take it the fuck out of here because these guys behind me are going to fuck you up. And I was like, and she took my bag with all the shit in there and she dumped it upside down. And remember, there's a line of like hundreds of people behind me trying to get into this place because I tried to get in early because they only had 4 rows of seats in the back where I could film from. Otherwise, it's just a big dance floor. And all my shit just dumped all over the floor, all these little things. And my monopod actually stayed in the bag, but the microphone fell out, all this stuff. And she's like, take it out of here now. She's like, you're lucky they didn't see this. They're not here right this second, but she's like, they're right behind me. And I was like, oh my God. I was just so scared. I was shaking after that. I was literally walking out of there shaking. And I took my stuff. I brought it out. Back then I had a car. I threw it in the car. I live in New York. Most people don't have a car. I had the Firebird back then still. I threw all this shit in the Firebird. And I was like, I'm going to go back in. And then when I went back in, that lady wasn't there anymore. So I ran back out to my car. I left everything in there except for the camera. I brought the camera with me, and then I went in. The metal detector went off, but I told them I had a metal pin in my leg, and nobody could grab me by the balls again. It was only that one lady, but that was the scariest time going into someplace, actually.
Awesome story, man. I know I got 1 or 2 more things here I want to ask about. I remember a story that you once told me that I think people would find fascinating, and that is one day you were at the penthouse that we just talked about earlier, and you got a knock on the door, and it was U2's manager or their management in some way. So tell me that story, man.
I forgot all about that.
How could you forget that? I mean, dude, U2's, I'll tell the story to start it and you can finish it. So let me refresh your memory. Apparently, U2's management came, knocked on your door and said, let's go to lunch. Took you out and you guys went out to eat. And he pretty much just proceeds to tell you that we've become aware that you're filming U2 out the ass and selling it. And we want you to stop. And so what happened? Do you remember that day now?
Oh, yeah, I remember that day.
Okay.
Yeah, I was sitting there. It was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And, not too many people come knocking at my door. My building was very multicultural. So if you weren't, the Chinese people took over my neighborhood. And I was like the only white, redheaded Jew guy sitting there.
I remember.
Probably within like 10 blocks.
Dude, they would see my scary ass showing up there. But anyway, go ahead.
So, nobody's really knocking on my door. And plus, I'm on top of this building and stuff. So, if you were knocking on my door, you were really coming to see me. You weren't like knocking on my door to get milk or something from next door. Those people really didn't talk to me. So, my bell rang. I hear the door knocking, and I'm like, I wonder who this is. And actually, I was on the phone with this guy, John, from Boston at the time. And I was like, John, someone's knocking at my door. I got to go. We would talk about stocks and stuff like that. The stock market was kind of big at the time, and we were doing well with the market. So we were like, okay, you know what? He's like, sure, go answer your door or whatever. Because I told him, I don't know who this is, but this is kind of not on the radar. So I hung up with him. I go answer the door, and there's this guy, and he had like a kind of beard like you, a little bit more trimmed down, and white hair slicked back, and he was wearing a nice little suit, and he had some papers in his hand. And he goes, can I come in? And I was like, no, not really. I was like, I'm very private, and I don't like people coming on my house, especially ones I don't know. So he goes, can I take you out to lunch? I need to talk to you. He goes, this is very important. He goes, this might be, about you getting arrested or something like that. He's like, all right. Now I'm like, okay. I was like, I shut the door. I was like, I'll be out in 2 minutes. Let me get my stuff together and get some shoes on and whatever. So we go down to the diner on the corner. And then he's telling me what you just said, he's like, we're very aware what's going on. He's like, the band doesn't want you like filming them anymore. And he's like, this is coming from the band. This isn't coming from anybody else. He's like, I'm giving you some cease and desist papers here. I'm personally hand delivering them. He's like, we had to get a private investigator. It took us like a year or whatever to find you, but we did. We know where you live. We know what you do. We know everything about you. So he's like, we're coming here nicely, you know.
That it's actually amazing that they would even come to you nicely. I mean, it really is crazy that they would take the time to do that. So how did that meeting end, man? What else did he say?
Well, the meeting, so he told me, and I said, I agreed. I was like, you know what? I said, I don't need to film you two. That's fine. I like them. Like, if I don't have to film them, I could be up in the front. So I said, could you get me some good tickets? I'd like to just go to the show. I was like, you're the lawyer and everything, and you were talking with the band. I was like, make me not film it in the back. Give me some tickets and put me in the front. And he's like, well, I can't do that. That's not my authority. But he's like, I'll tell you what, we won't prosecute you if you stop. And he's like,
yeah, go ahead.
and I was like, okay, all right. I was like, you were nice enough to come here and do this. And I was like, I will accommodate what you want, and I'm not going to shoot them anymore. That's fine. And then I was like, but you know, I was like, how do I really know you're from U2? And then he starts pulling out all this stuff. And then he said to me, I'm really intrigued with what you do. He's like, is there any possible way that I can get a copy of some of the shows? Because I was at the show that you did in California. Because I went out there and did them in California. He's like, can I get a copy of that show? Because he said, that show means a lot to me. I was with some people that day and this and that. And my kids came. And I was like, really? You're asking me?
That's crazy.
So after.
So didn't something similar like that happen with Fish, or am I incorrect?
No, yeah, something very similar with Fish happened as well, like that.
Yeah. So I remember that I thought that literally almost the same thing.
Yeah, but they were mean.
They were mean. Okay. I actually have another guy in St. Louis who filmed Fish like 100 times, and I guess they had a big problem with that. We're gonna have him on the show in the near future. But
are you on a couch?
What about it?
You're sitting on a couch?
Yeah, I'm sitting on a couch, man.
I thought it was like a big chair, and now I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, it's a couch.
No, it's a couch, man.
Roy, I'm impressed, man. Your house is very tidy.
It's yeah, well, you'd have to see. I mean, we've got like 30-foot ceilings and shit.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like let me see if I can sort of
Oh shit.
You see that? But yeah, I mean, we've lived in this neighborhood for almost 10 years now, and just
I have a question for you.
Yeah, sure.
This would mean a lot to me. Mm-hmm. I'm really trying to get in touch with Tom Leahy.
I'll get a hold of him. You know, we might have gotten our wires crossed earlier when I was talking about the tripod. I was talking about that Tom. And you may have been talking about a different Tom. I'm not sure.
Tom Leahy, the guy with the glasses.
Yeah. He was my shooting partner. He moved to Washington State.
Right, but he moved to Washington. He went off the grid. He's not on Facebook. He's not on anything.
Yeah, I'll find him. I can find anybody. I'm practically a fucking private investigator. Dude, I got to tell you a quick story. Mike DeShankel had a problem with the network, okay? And this is going to sound really crazy. I don't really think it was Mike. I think it was his buddy, a guy named Randall. And he goes by the name Silver Stallion. He edits, he does DVD stuff, okay? So anyway, he just, they don't like when people re-encode their videos for YouTube because they're really old school, like literally from the 80s. Like they don't understand how conversions work. And like, in order for YouTube to show the videos and the quality that I'm able to do them, we have to put them through a really intensive conversion process, because when YouTube does their conversions, it's hard to explain, but you do conversions on your end to try to be as close to what YouTube wants on their end so that your videos look the best they can look on YouTube. So, but what happens is YouTube eliminates a field of video with analog video, okay? So So in order for it to look the way it looks when I put it up, if you've ever watched some videos on YouTube, you'll see like even Joe, his stuff on his channel, every now and then when the lights start blinking or there's fast motion, it looks like there's lines running through the subjects on the video. And that's because YouTube has eliminated a field of video. So in order for us to work around the limitations of YouTube, I have to convert the videos over here a certain way so that they can convert them another way. So Mike DeShankel and his buddy like despise anybody who re-encodes their video, but it ultimately comes from ignorance of what it really takes to do good streams online. Like what I'm doing right now is different, man. I mean, like I'm no longer into physical media. I mean, if you get a chance to watch on your TV, I mean, like I have a 65-inch TV here at the house, 4K super monster TV. So for me, when I convert the videos, I'm not happy unless they are perfect on a 65-inch TV. So most people don't have a 65-inch TV. So when you go to other people's houses and you watch on a 50-inch TV or a 47-inch TV, my shit looks fucking incredible, better than physical DVDs. Like I have basically found a way to, with re-encoding and conversions, like make the quality look as good, if better than my master tapes. Better than my master tapes, the shit I have up. Because I'm able to correct video, do it at 60 frames per second. I mean, it's all these settings and things. I mean, when I got sick a year ago, I just decided to learn all of that. I didn't have anything else to do. I can't leave the house. So I'm just like, I gotta learn and do this. So, you know, anyway, man, so we're getting ready to do the wrap up here. So before we go, though, I literally have a service that I use that like private investigators use, and I will find Tom, his phone number, his cell phone number, his home address, everything. Because I need to get him on the show. I mean, if you watch episode 4, I told the story of me and Tom and when the feds raided Tom's house. And I mean, Tom told them when the feds raided Tom's house, he told them, they were like, it's a long story, but we were going to go film the Smashing Pumpkins together. And they had been investigating Tom for like 4 months, okay? And we had the same situation that you had. We had a hookup on tickets. So we had got front row balcony for what was going to be the last Smashing Pumpkins show with the original members. I had inside word that this was the last show. And to this day, it was the last show with the original members of the band, okay? So anyway, long story short, Tom comes to my house in Washington and he's, I don't feel good. You just go film the show by yourself. So me and my second wife, Alyssa, who I believe you may have met at one point, we go to the show in Portland, Oregon, okay? And there's these 2 guys sitting next to us. And I'm getting ready to pull the camera out of the bag, and I have a tripod, 2 cameras, 2 microphones. Like, I'm going to tear the place down. But these 2 guys next to us kept going, like, really interested. They're like, so what are you doing over there, man? Like, you know, and they're talking to my wife, like, so much that it was making me nervous. I'm like, they're going to go get security or something. Like, I'm fucked, right? So the lights go down, the intro music hits. I have my hands in my backpack, getting ready to film the show. So as the lights go down, I'm getting there and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at these guys and I'm looking at my camera and I just say to myself, something's wrong. And I zip my bag up and I let it go and I didn't film. Turns out they bust Tom 2 months later, the feds. They bust down his door, the whole 9 yards. And the first thing, the most important thing that they wanted to know from Tom was, how did Roy Dam know that there were 2 federal agents at the Smashing Pumpkins show? Because they were there to catch us in the act of filming.
Holy shit.
And if I had to pull my camera, and as I left the venue, those two guys that ended up being the feds who were investigating Tom, they were literally, while music was playing, the Pumpkins are playing, and I'm walking up towards the exit with my wife and my backpack and shit, and they're literally yelling at me. They're all, "Where are you guys going? Don't you guys want to see the show and shit?" And I didn't know what was going on until the day he shows up at my door, white knuckles banging on the door. "The feds were just at my house. They know where you are. They know about us. They know everything." And so they asked him, they wanted to know, how did Roy Dam know that those were two federal agents? And Tom literally says to these motherfuckers, I shit you not, "Because he's Roy, you could never catch him. He's the best." I'm like, you literally like, you just made a dare to them to come get me, motherfucker. Like, I threw him out of my house and dude, and that kind of started like my first, and I told this whole story on the other show, but that started my, my first retirement from filming. I quit filming for like a year, maybe 2 years over that. And he had told, the feds were like, he kept saying like, "I told them that you quit and that you started a real production company because I was making the Bootleg documentary that you know about that we did." And so anyway, he convinced the feds that I retired. And they never messed with me or came. But I mean, I used to sleep with one eye open thinking they're going to bang on the door one day and I'm going to lose all my stuff, because the day that happened to Tom, I actually took all of my masters and everything to a third-party storage location, sort of like your deal, in a basement, off the grid at a friend of mine's business, and left my shit there for 2 years, and because I was worried that they may come and take it. But actually now, what we're doing now is, like I said, we digitize all of the shows and back everything up ×3. So like if they came and knocked on my door right now, I would just laugh and be like, "Let me help you carry that shit out to the car, motherfucker."
Let me tell you, they don't care. They don't care.
Good, because they're never getting my tapes. And I'll tell you this right now, it would literally, they will have to kill me to stop what I'm about to do, because what we're going to do is the world's first streaming app. This is a legacy project, dude. This is my final mark, my final contribution, because what we're doing right now is we are giving away all of this material, because the history and the archive, the underground archive that you, me, Joe, Willie, all the people that we talked about here today, I mean, the legacy in the underground archive that we created needs to live on, because we're losing history. And I know that sounds a little...
Mark.
Well, I know that this sounds a little bit dramatic, but I mean, we're going to lose history, dude. And that means, and fuck it, I'm going to use this on the show right now. I'm just going to edit this in, man. A lot of people don't know that, Kevin still has all of his masters. We are going to help the Master Tape Network. I'm not joking, dude. Next week, I'm flying someone out there. So I hope you were serious, because my wife is going to come and oversee the excavation of these tapes being brought to.
It might be more than a week. I have to contact the person.
Whatever it takes. If it takes a month, a year, whatever, man, we're going to do it. We're going to digitize your footage, because, dude, I have first gens. Many people around the world have first gens of all of your work. But what they don't have is, we need.
No, actually, where they have second gens. I never gave
exactly.
First.
Yeah, I know. I'm one of the few people in the world that came to your house and got some real first gens. You know what I mean? And I have you shot 3,000 shows, and I might have 10 first gens from you that I got at your house that were not genned down and stuff. So, I mean, in reality, though, we really want that full quality AVI file. I mean, I could settle for first gens and we could master them and make them look beautiful. But I mean, really, like, what we want to do is preserve this history for the world in the highest quality possible. This app is going to be free for everybody in the world. This app is going to be available, for your smart TV, your Android devices, your iPhone, everything. and it will have 10,000 bootlegs, and you'll be able to watch every show for free forever. And you'll have credit. It will say filmed by Kevin Weinstein right there when people watch it.
Well, here's one thing you need to know. I had a lot of very, very awesome audio guys give me their audios that we synced up to the videos. But back in the day, I didn't really have the technology or whatever, the time to make like, you know, to put them with the masters. And then as far as these audios go, I don't even know where they are anymore, to be honest with you. But they and a lot of them are unlabeled. But I have like a first gen VHS copy with the sound, with the great sound and the picture. So just letting you know that it might be better to grab some of the stuff as a first gen.
Whatever it takes. I mean, just, we'll get there. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, man. But I want to help you digitize everything. We want to make it live forever. And it really will live forever. I mean, there's some things that you don't know about me. I mean, I work in a technology field. Before I retired due to health reasons, I worked in a technology field that is about streaming. So this app will actually be an unstoppable force. So, I mean, we're in a new time, man. It's like the old West. And, I mean, I'm here to make that mark. My final contribution to the world of bootlegs is going to be a streaming archive that will live forever. And I will be able to pass that archive on to everybody, man. And, it'll be full quality. Full quality, man. But, so, man, I really got to tell you that this has been awesome. This proves that the brotherhood of bootlegs is real. After 20 years of not talking, I mean, we literally haven't seen each other in, 13, 14 years. Here we are talking just like it was yesterday. But your contributions to the world of bootleg are immeasurable. And I want to thank you for coming here on Master Tape Theater and sharing some of your stories. I'm sure in the near future, we will have Kevin back again. And, you've really opened the door for a lot of other filmers to come forward and tell their stories, man. You are one of the kings of bootlegs. And I think that a lot of people that have been reluctant to come and tell their stories to us are going to want to come and tell it now because you were brave enough to come and tell your story for us, man.
Sure, thanks. And I want to let everybody, all the other bootlegger guys and gals that see this, because yes, there are women bootleggers as well, which we discussed before, that it's okay. You do not have to be afraid to talk and tell your stories. I was busted by the feds. They had their way with me, and they really don't care.
Well, man, I mean, you've lived to tell your story. You've still got your footage. It's literally the most important thing. If anyone wants to hook up with Kevin, man, they can find him on Instagram. Go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you, man.
These days, I don't really do much. I can. Am I incriminating myself here? I keep my shows pretty private, I guess, that I do. I think these days nobody cares if you do it or not, as long as it's not on something super professional. So I do a lot of phone shooting if I'm very close, or on a smaller camera or something like that, just for my own personal use. And I hate to say it, but I don't always do a full show. I don't want to be the lead guy anymore. I actually want to go and enjoy some of the shows and rock out. I have really long hair, and I like to wing it around. You know what I'm saying?
It's the bootleg retirement plan. I want to do the same thing myself someday.
But I will put this out there. I am definitely, if there's other filmers out there, I'll definitely be in the mix. Sometimes I'm the lead, sometimes I'm not. I don't care. I just don't want to be the only guy that everybody relies on. But I will help out with anything New York located here, or unless you want to fly me out to your exotic location.
I may do that, man. I'm going to fly you out to film Ice Cube next month, dude, in Vegas. We got to do it. I'm looking to film a beautiful Ice Cube show. I want to bring Ice Cube to the network. But again, man, people can find you on Instagram. What's your handle on Instagram? Right.
So I am NYCBC, New York City Bitch Committee 69. That's what it stands for. NYCBC 69. I'm on Instagram every single day for the last 3 years. I have about 1,500 clips up there already. I will put up one song from a live show. I still go to about 100 shows a year, if not more. And I gather up my clips. I try to get good seats instead of sitting in the back with a zoom lens. Now I'm in the front rows. They don't care anymore. All the bands want you to film them. So I go in close and I can do it. Unfortunately, the stuff I do with my video camera, I can't really put on Instagram. I think you could, but I just haven't figured it out yet. I'm very low tech, unfortunately.
We can help you with that, man. We got a lot of people. We literally have a team of people that work on that. I mean, if you need any help in that department, Master Tape Network will be there for you, man.
Great. Then you're going to have a lot more better videos to watch on Instagram. I'm also up on YouTube as well. I think my handle there is live concert views on YouTube, but I really haven't updated it recently. But I will be putting more stuff up there in the future.
Cool, man. We're going to bring a lot of your older shows to the network very soon, man. And thanks a lot. And we will see you again in the very near future, dude.
Rock on.
Cool. So there it is, me and Kevin Weinstein getting together, sharing some old times. I got to say, man, it was the best interview in the history of the show, the highest rated show we've ever had. I really miss Kevin. I'm so glad he's back involved with the network. I can't wait to start transferring and digitizing all of his stuff, man. The dude is a god, an absolute god of bootlegs. It
was pretty funny to see, that story about him being grabbed by the balls by that Prince security chick, man. I don't know how the hell he got out of that one, but.
Well, I mean, yeah, dude, the part where she's like,
whatever the fuck that is, you better take that shit back to your car, boy. And then he goes out to the car to unpack, like he's defeated. Then he goes back and she's gone. He gets in and conquers the mighty prince at the Palladium video. That's a really cool story, man. But
right.
It's one of the biggest things that's ever happened to us, Kevin letting us digitize all of his masters. I have a team in place, 6 guys. We're going to go around the clock. It is going to be a massive 2 to 3 year project on top of the already massive project that we're doing. More and more people are coming to the network and getting involved. Lots of volunteers. Find us on Facebook if you haven't already. We'd love to talk to you in our groups. Message us on YouTube and other social media platforms. I want to give a special shout out to all of our Patreon subscribers. I want to let you guys know that we're a little bit behind on getting up the shows. Part of the reason would be because of YouTube's goddamn filters, dude. 2 of the 5 special shows that I put up last week, including the mystery concert, the big mystery concert that we talked about, were blocked by YouTube over some sound bites that actually weren't even the band. So now I have to go back in, re-edit those videos. It takes like 20 hours to convert that thing properly. It's an absolute nightmare, but I wanted to let our Patreon subscribers know that we will be getting those links out to you. You will get all of the shows as we promised you, man. If you got anything you want to add, that's just about it for this week. Really awesome show this week, man. I laughed.
I had a great time. I want to give a shout out to my homegirl, Jen Gray, for this We Are 138 Misfits Eye of the Tiger t-shirt. It's pretty cool. I actually traded her Toto record because she likes the song Africa.
Well,
I had that record, and I gladly traded it to her. I was almost going to throw it away, and here I am with this cool-ass shirt. Enjoy Africa, Jen.
All right, man. So there it is. Enjoy Africa. Also, I want to give a shout out to Ace's Yoko Ono
for reporting the Kiss train addict kill in the Bahamas. This week just couldn't get any better, man, for a guy like me. I have literally never enjoyed anything more in my life than watching Kiss be dragged through the digital coals of what is the internet hate machine. Welcome to the year 2019, Kiss. Enjoy the road. I'm Roy Goddamn. He's Eric Lawton.
Support the app, the only app dedicated to the history and preservation of bootlegs. We'll see you next week.